Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I am your host, Carolyn Orphan. Today is June 7th, 2023, and I'm so excited to be with you all today. Make sure you let us know that you're here by telling me hello in the public chat. We've got some really fun stuff for you guys today. Let's see, but let's start with some fun news. So it's Pride Month, so don't forget to check out our travel agent tips on LGBTQ plus travel. That's in the KHM YouTube channel. And you'll also see a poll this week on our channel that we'd appreciate you participating in. Hello, Three Treasures Travel, the TTT. So good to see you. It's wonderful that you guys are here today on this beautiful, well, I think it's beautiful. I'm working in my basement, so who knows? But I'm so glad you guys are with us today. Before we get to our first guest, just a couple of quick travel news announcements. I don't know if you guys heard this, but Clear Reserve is a new program through Clear. If you guys are familiar with that, through the airport, it's a new program where you can reserve front of the line time slots with TSA. So it's kind of like making a dinner reservation for you to go to security line. So it's free. So you don't have to be a Clear member. And recently they just added Denver and Minneapolis to the airport list. So now there's about 20 airports nationwide that have this option, actually internationally, Canada and Europe as well. And it's no additional cost, no fingerprinting, no eye scans. You just sign up on Clear's website for your time that you think you're going to be at the airport, and you go and you get a QR code, you give it to the Clear ambassador, and they kind of scoot you to the front of the line. You still have to go through the normal, security and all that sort of stuff, and you still have to show your passport and boarding pass, but it's like a reservation for security, which is kind of neat. So if anyone gives that a try, let us know how it goes, because I think this is kind of neat. Okay, now here's a really important one, you guys. Hello, Sam. Hello, Ashley. Hello, Carrie. So great to see you guys. So here's a really important one. And I know, Carrie, you're heading to Estes Park. Guys, it's national park season. If you have clients traveling, let's just remind them that this is a national park, not a petting zoo. Buffalo, moose, deer, elk are not household pets and should not be pet. They need to be observed from a safe distance. So make sure if you are sending people to national parks, even on a guided tour, you're letting people know that this is just the best way to do it. Stay in your car, stay a comfortable distance, especially if it's a mama and a baby. You do not want to be charged by a buffalo, and you certainly don't want to be charged by a moose. So we think this is common sense, but unfortunately with the news reports lately, it's not always common sense. So make sure that you share these helpful tips with your clients. Let's see, we've got some comments here. Okay. Nothing that has to do with national parks, but that's all right. Okay, so we're excited for our first guest because he's never, ever been here before. Please welcome Zach Caravetta. I hope I said that right. Senior Director of Agency Sales with one of our favorite cruise lines, Norwegian. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. And you pronounced my last name like better than anybody ever on the first go around. So
well,
amazing.
I grew up with a very difficult name, so I try very hard to get it right. And I'm also when people say, oh, it doesn't matter, I always say, yes, it does matter, because I grew up always having my name butchered. So, Zach, before we play a little game to get to know you better, when you're at a national park, do you stay a safe distance away from buffaloes?
I really
moose?
do. Yes. As a matter of fact, when I went to Denali, and I was warned that these squirrels are extremely dangerous, that they have more incidents with biting squirrels than anything else. So once I heard that, that was it for me. I was done.
Yeah, well, and it's true. Chipmunks, the same thing. When they're so used to people and feeding them and things like that, they can become aggressive. So you laugh, but yeah. Where I have a little place in the mountains, there are a lot of moose that wander around, and they almost become your neighbors, because you'll look up and all of a sudden they're there. And thankfully, they are used to humans, but you you never know. They could become aggressive, especially when they're with the baby. And with pets, especially, you always have to make sure that they're on a leash, because one little thing and it can set both animals off, and you never know what's going to happen. So it always astounds me when I see news reports of
Well,
people trying to
I'm in
touch.
Miami, so I think I'm safe for now. I never thought I'd say that,
I,
but
I think
in context, I think I'm completely safe.
you just have to worry about what's in the water.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yes,
a whole different national park there.
exactly.
So, well, we're so happy that you're here, and we like to play a game with our new to KHM Todayers, called Rapid Fire or Lightning Round Questions. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You look
Okay.
stressed out already.
I'm feeling a little bit of the pressure. Let me get myself ready. Do I
It's
need to
only like 8
stretch?
to 10 questions, and they're
Okay.
really easy. They're nothing to trip you up. They're
Okay.
all just like about you. So it's not even like
Fantastic.
trivia for NCL. So let's start with, what was your first job?
My first job was working in a clothing store for sporting goods.
What is your favorite month?
March.
Favorite animal?
I love puppies.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
What word do you have a hard time pronouncing?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh, very good. What was your favorite subject in school?
Study hall.
I've never heard that one before. What is your favorite breakfast?
Omelet.
If you had to change your first name, what would you change it to?
Oh gosh, the clock is ticking. I've never thought of that before. How about something distinguished like Bartholomew?
Oh, that's a hard one to spell, though.
Yeah, that
Do you
sucks.
collect anything?
I do baseball cards.
Ah, and what is your favorite type of weather?
I like mild weather. For us in South Florida, it's like very kind of chilly. That's 70 to 72 degrees and
Yes.
sunny.
Yes. For those of you that don't live in Florida, that chilly 70 to
2 degree,
72
right? And
degrees.
everybody's like grimacing and already doesn't like me when they hear that. So
I love it. Well,
sorry.
we all have our own definition of hot, and we all have our own
True.
definition of cold.
It is very
So,
true.
well, we're so glad that you're here
Thank you.
today.
Me
And
too. I appreciate it.
our topic is business development managers. We've talked about this before on the show, but we try to bring it back every once in a while, because not that the definition necessarily changes, but everyone has a little bit of a different perspective on it. And COVID certainly changed our perspective of business development managers during that time. And I think slowly but surely we've gotten back to what I think is a traditional role for business development managers. So at Norwegian, what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is an interesting thing to kind of refresh and understand, especially with the ebbs and flows of business. I think ideally, I'd like to say utopian, but I think it really is our focus. We want to take it at Norwegian from more of a consultation type style marketing manager hat. So it's sort of two pronged. We really want our sales managers to be people that understand the business either from a network but also on a one-on-one basis. Like, what makes you tick, what keeps you up at night, what are your biggest challenges and obstacles, and then understanding what our capabilities are, what's maybe unique to our value proposition, so we can kind of bridge the gap. Hopefully it's not like we want to be all things to everybody.
Mhm.
I think that lacks sincerity. We want to bridge the gap, make doing business a bit easier where we can bridge the gap, and just help people. And that may mean chipping away little by little. It might mean we're not the right product, but more often than not, I'd like to think we are. But I think it's more consulting, digging into knowing the people.
Mhm.
It is relationships. I mean, bottom line, it's always has been, it always will be. I probably would have to say, though, maybe one of the hardest things with the push pull in the relationship that I've always seen is, when do you go to your sales manager on the troubleshooting side or
Mhm.
to resolve things? And that's always a bit of a trickier thing, because ideally we want our sales managers to work with our individual members and ICs and so forth, on developing business, right? Future business, marketing activity. How can we help build business more than deal with the existing business. Now that's ideal, and it doesn't always happen that way. And I know sometimes there's a level of comfort with trying to reach out as a one-stop shop for all things booking related with the cruise line.
Hmm.
But I think to maximize the opportunity, we hope to see it being really more of trying to drive new demand and working in tandem, hand in hand, brainstorming, coming up with creative ideas and solutions to incentivize the market to drive sales in their pipeline.
I love the idea of like fill in the blank, right? If you're struggling with something related to our business, let's see if we can educate you better on that piece so that that's not a stumbling block for you and you can continue to sell and grow our product. And I think that's exactly, what a business development manager should do. The resolution piece is always the struggle, and we see that all the time
Yeah.
from our agents. And I'm sure those of you that are listening that are not with KHM, probably have this same struggle. Is you have a problem, who is the best person when there's a resolution? Is it the reservation team? Is it customer service?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a Norwegian standpoint, we would ideally like it to be, because if everything's kind of firing at all cylinders as it should, it would be escalation would go through our guest service department, and if there's resolution needed, it would be passed along to the supervisors on hand to be able to
Hmm.
remedy that. That's the ideal. Sometimes we know we live in a gray world in certain circumstances where there was misunderstandings, and sometimes we do get involved. I will say, in our point, our sales managers aren't the ones necessarily getting their hands into identifying the fixes. We do have an internal department that we work with to help us navigate through those things, to try to free our sales managers so they can keep consistent. It's tough because we normally have one dedicated sales manager per a certain, whether it's
Hmm.
geographic location or network or whatever it may be. So there's a lot more of everybody out there and a lot less of us. So we want to maximize that time and be sensitive to it. So I would say first stop would be through our reservations guest service department. Escalate it from that point, and then if all else fails, then yes, then your sales manager is there, because we're here to help,
Hmm.
either which way. We would love it to be on a proactive stance, but we're here to help.
Right. What's new at NCL? What's coming up that we can get excited about?
I mean, I think in newness, it's always going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, our ships,
Yeah.
right? It's the new ships. So last year we came out with a Norwegian Prima. This was a whole new class of ship that really somewhat evolved our brand. It kind of took everything we believe guests love and enjoy about Norwegian, and it took it to the next level. So the sister ship to Norwegian Prima comes out, Norwegian Viva, that's coming out in
Hmm.
August. And these ships are just a bit different, from the crew to guest ratio being 2 to 1, what we call a space ratio being the most outdoor space of any cruise lines building ships, that we hope is connecting our guests to the sea unlike ever before. And the ships are a little bit, we're holding a few or few fewer passengers
Hmm.
on these vessels as well, which is unique. So the way that we're spacing people, giving people more things, more dining options, I think is always going to be exciting. And then when you take these new ships, because we have Prima Class 3 and 4 coming out in 25 and 26, and then Prima Class 5 and 6 are slated for 27 and 28. Our capacity is scheduled to increase close to 50% in these coming years. So what's new, easily said, is going to be the ships. But
Hmm.
I also think what's new is our destinations. I think the destinations and the ability to hopefully be as profitable as you possibly can be in the contemporary brand. We'd like to say that's who we are. With over 400 destinations across 7 continents, we're kind of leading the way in port diversity as it relates to our peer set. And I think this is really giving people an opportunity to advance plan and earn more. And then lastly, and maybe our most important thing, which is relatively new, came out this year, is our non-commissionable
Yes.
commission, where agents are able to now earn, we're averaging it out, give or take, approximately 30% more on their bookings, just because we are paying. And we really put ourselves out there. We said, if we if we come up with a program that's going to make more profitable to do business, we believe we all deserve that level. We deserve a higher revenue point, a higher yield, and we believe everybody who's doing that hard work deserves to earn a good wage on the effort and expertise that they provide to their customers. So I think it's a combination of all those things: new ships, wonderful destinations, and the ability to be profitable.
I want to go back to the new ships because one of the things that I think is so cool, if you look at the CLEAR report, the state of the cruise industry report from, I think, 2021. So a little bit old. I haven't seen the new one, but it always goes over some of those trends that we're seeing. And those trends for the last couple of years have included those more outdoor spaces, less passengers on board, more technology, things like that. And I'm always fascinated by the fact that these ship plans have been in the works forever, yet these are the trends that we're seeing. And I just think it's the coolest thing. And I'm excited about, not just the Viva, but the two after that to see. I'm curious, maybe you don't know this, but you've got the general plan. Can things shift once you've got the general plan
Yeah.
because you're starting to see clients seeking something different?
Yes,
Um,
they definitely can, and I think they're always in the works. Right now, Viva's pretty well set,
right.
obviously, because it's coming out this year. But the other ships, I know there's constant development and considerations being made based on feedback that we're getting. I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's from partner and guest surveys, guest feedback on it, to go with those trends and meet the desired expectations. Absolutely.
Yeah. What I would just love to be a fly on the wall in
Yeah.
those meetings and in the meetings where you discuss itineraries, because I just can't even imagine how that is done. I just picture this whole wall of graphics and things like that telling you where ships are at what point on which dates. Like, to me, that's fascinating. So two wish list ideas for myself to be
I
a
think
fly
that'd
on
be
the wall
cool.
in
I'd
those two
like that
meetings.
too. I'd like that too. I think it'd be a lot of sticking. I picture a lot of sticky notes in
Yes.
various
Yep.
colors just covering walls. It would be tailor made for the Rubik's Cube enthusiast for sure,
Yes.
especially on the itinerary planning. It's I think it's amazing.
Yeah. I think it'd make for a great Netflix series. Yep. So, well,
Agreed.
thank you so much for being here and sharing, your thoughts on how to successfully use a business development manager and the ways they can work with us proactively as opposed to reactively. So we appreciate your time today. I hope you
No,
had
I
fun.
I've no, I did. I did have fun. Yeah, please work with your sales manager, do advanced group planning, talk to them and ask them about any opportunities to maybe incentivize on short cruise sale
Mhm.
offers that maybe we could drive some interest to get people to raise their hand in advance. We love staying ahead of the booking curve. It's better for you, it's better for us. We love advanced planning. So book a group. We have an amazing affinity group
Mhm.
program, and your sales manager's eager and ready and willing to talk to you more about it. So thank you as well for everything you guys do. We appreciate you all very much.
Absolutely. We love our partnership with you guys, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
I can't wait.
All
Thank
right.
you. Have a
Thanks,
great
Zach.
one.
Take
Take
care.
care. Bye now. See everybody.
All right, you guys. Last week, we had the pleasure of hearing from David Pritchard from Apple Leisure Group, Director of Health and Wellbeing, about that balance between the harmony. He used the word harmony between work and family, and how that is all supposed to come together. Well, it's the summer. Kids are almost out of school. If they're not already, it's happening in the next week or two. And so we have some moms who are also agents with us today. Please welcome Stacy, Amy, and Keisha as we discuss how do you make it all work when you have kids now running around the house.
Fun
Welcome,
times.
you guys. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
for having us.
All right. So, Keisha, let's start with you. You've got kiddos running around the house. What ages and what in the world do you do with them?
Well, technically, I only have one kiddo running around the house because my older two are 23 and 20. But Maya's 8 years old, and during this summer, she goes to summer camp. And I try to plan some like day trips and things to do with her to keep her busy. And when she comes home, we either color or we go outside and walk or ride bikes.
And so how do you weave work into that?
I try to get most of my stuff done when she's not around.
Mm-hmm.
So much more easier because she wants 100% of my attention, and I'm not always available 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So
That's how it works in this business. Stacy, what about you? How many do you have at home?
I have 2. I have a 3-year-old and my son is 15. So it's a big age gap.
So 15 we think is easy, except they want you in the car driving them places, right? You don't need to be watching them necessarily to make sure they're not falling or eating something they shouldn't be eating. So how do you handle that harmony, or is it harmony?
Well, I try my best to stick to a schedule. So I do work from home, so my 3-year-old is here all year long. But my son helps a lot. So I try to get up 5:30, 6 o'clock, do as much as I can, prep breakfast as much as I could. So like that, when she gets up or now that he's home, he's an eater, try to have things done or a lot of frozen stuff so they could just throw in. And he actually helps me a lot. And I sometimes also have my 2 nephews with me. So my sister is an overnight nurse.
Oh gosh.
So my 10-year-old nephew helps a lot with my daughter. And there's a lot of outdoor time, and I try to schedule calls and everything when I'm locking myself in my room and someone could watch her in the meantime. I have a big family, and Keisha, you've seen my daughter took me to the Crystal Conference. And I brought my family does help a lot when it comes down to my kids.
When it comes to scheduling clients, are you using like Calendly or something like that? Or are you just kind of figuring out a time and blocking it into your schedule?
I just block it into my schedule.
Okay.
I try to book anything between like 12 and 2 so I could feed lunch and prep dinner. Something in the crock part of the oven that I could just forget about.
It's amazing. I mean, I love it. It's music to my ears to hear that there is someone else like me that blocks that time to make sure. And I'm big when I know the day is going to be crazy. I'm big on getting up super early to have that uninterrupted time. It's painful, no doubt, to get up that early and do it, but it does help. Amy,
you guys are lucky. The moment I move from my bed, my daughter's up. It doesn't matter what time I get up. If I get up at 4:30, she's up. Mommy, what you doing? Can I watch TV? I'm hungry. If I sleep in the bed until 8 o'clock, she's still in the bed. And then when I get up, it's like as soon as I breathe or move, there she goes.
She's ready for a party.
Yes. I envy you guys.
Yeah, you need to give her a schedule and say this is when you can get up.
Right. So I stay up all night most times so I can get stuff done when she's home because she wakes up early when I wake up. It's crazy.
Amy, you've got 2 little girls at home. How does it work? And you homeschool, correct? So this is, the beginning. There's no beginning for you. It's always like this.
It is. And I mean, the great thing about my kids are now they're 6 and 9. So they're kind of at that age where they can't cause too much trouble yet, but I don't have to worry about them, eating things they're not supposed to or sticking a finger in a socket. But what's helped me is I posted a routine for them. So there's like, when you wake up, these are the things you need to do, because that's like prime time where I'm usually in a meeting or dealing with a client call or something like that. So I have a posted routine for them so they know what they're supposed to do. So if mom's unavailable, like, you still know you need to brush your teeth every morning or, go make a bowl of cereal.
What do you guys do, or where do you go? Do you hide out in a closet, or, do they know when the door is closed, mom's on a call? Is there someplace that you go that is off limits if you're on the phone with a client?
Reality. I have an office, and it doesn't matter if my husband's home and the door is closed, she will still walk by him and ask me 10,000 questions. And I gotta be like, Maya, I told you I'm in a meeting. And she's like, but I need to. And I'm like, Maya, I'm in a meeting. Then I got to give her the stare.
Yeah.
And then she backs up and then she goes, ask Dad.
Yes.
But most of my clients
Mine
are
is the
really
snap.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that one before. Yeah.
Snap and point.
That's funny. Stacey, do you have a secret hideout?
I do. I have a room that I go to, kind of like my office. No matter what I do, my daughter's not afraid of me, so she doesn't care.
Yeah, Carolyn doesn't look like she's afraid of anyone.
I think more afraid of her. But so whenever I have calls, I try to schedule something, and my sister does, or my mom will take a day of the week and where I'm just completely by myself and no one bothers me at home. But I try to schedule around her. Or if someone is here, they know keep her downstairs. Even if I have to go sit in my car and take a call, like I have to hide some because when I have a call to take, doesn't matter what it is, she doesn't care.
That's hilarious. If there was one word of advice to give to agents who are new to this and they now are finding themselves, with kiddos home and really not sure how to balance it all, or if there's what their plan of attack should be, what would you tell them?
I would say,
No,
go ahead, Stacey. Who's
Go ahead,
going?
Stacey.
Am I going?
yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Keisha.
I would say be flexible, and if you have a phone call, give your clients like the opening act. Just so you know, I have a little kid that may walk through this door and ask me 10 questions. I get stressed, but because I'm like, I got to be professional, but we're building relationships with our clients. So a lot of times if you tell them, they are very understanding and they're like, oh, I understand, I have kids myself, or no problem. But you just have to be flexible and go with the flow, right? Because your kids don't care. They don't care.
And you know what, Keisha, I think that's
especially if you're mom.
It's such a good point. And we've talked to every agent about this at events, right? Be open and honest, right? Have those office hours that work for you. If you have another job, share that with the client, because then they're not expecting this like immediate communication. So being honest and saying, hey, I'm so glad we have this opportunity to chat. Just so you know, my kids are now home for the summer. And so someone might pop in and yell, Mom, at any point in time. And you're absolutely right. I have never gotten someone that was like, well, that just is not going to work for me. It's usually the, oh my gosh, yeah, me too. Is usually what I get. So I love that. Honesty about who's walking, the potential for disaster.
Potential for interruption.
Interruption.
But it's true. Even when I was at my full-time job, I would let my clients, like when I first get them, I would say, hey, I work a full-time job. Text messages easier. I'll get back to you faster, even if it's just saying I saw what you sent me. I'll look into it and get back to you. But yeah, honesty, being open and honest is the best way, because then they have that expectation. And if it doesn't happen, then they're even happier.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Stacey.
I personally like to, like I said, I'm all about my schedules. Pick a schedule and stick to it. Try to schedule around them. My life is literally scheduling around my daughter right now, and learning not to do stuff overnight. It's harder for the morning. That was my biggest. That was the hardest thing I had to learn, was not leave everything overnight once kids are in bed, because you will be exhausted the next day.
Well, and I'm sure you might have found that that's when mistakes sometimes happen, because we're tired and things like that, that fresh mind first thing in the morning, even though it can be early, is likely better than foggy at night.
Yes. And always keep a pot ready.
Yeah.
I'm more creative at night, to be honest. So it's kind of backwards for me.
Yeah.
But definitely sleeping with 3 hours of sleep is not good for anybody. So yeah, don't make a habit of it.
Absolutely. Amy.
It's true. I mean, I kind of do the same thing Stacey does. I set that time aside in the morning that I can make sure that I power through the emails and everything because I feel like having that little half hour of time with just me, my inbox, and my cup of coffee sets me up for success the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And it helps me just not chase my tail for the rest of the day. I make my to-do list, and theoretically, at least I know what I need to do. You know, what'll actually get done might be very different than that list, but
Right.
we started from a place of not complete chaos, at least.
And I think that's the important part, is where am I starting? So I do my to-do list the night before, and then I work on that first thing in the morning. And that sets me up for a good night's sleep, because I know what I'm waking up to. Am I waking up to final payments, which for some reason, I don't know about you guys, but they stress me out. Doesn't matter if they're 3 days in advance, 1 week in advance, it's still like your heart is just pounding over them. And so, you know, I've got that frame of mind, like, this is tomorrow morning. That's the first thing I have to do. And I'm going to get that out of the way. And then I've got so yeah, I like the idea of structure, schedules, a plan. Summer camp is always a good thing. Extra hands when you can get it. And you know, sometimes you just have to roll with it. When mine were littler, I just opened the front door and I had kids running in and out all the time.
All the time.
So, and
My neighbors don't even knock.
Yep. If you saw the show last week, I opened it up with "The summer is here." You never know what you're going to hear above my head. It could be the FedEx guy. It could be a dog, a husband, 10 kids. You never know. You just have to go with it, because this is the best time of year. The kids are home. We love it. It's chaos. But we somehow still manage to get our jobs done, and we do it really, really well. I think, at least.
Agreed.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Keisha, good luck on your upcoming wedding.
Thank you. Hopefully my dress is ready later.
Yeah, hopefully it's ready in a week. You guys, maybe we'll get together at the end of the summer and see if we've got new gray hairs, if we still have hair because we're pulling it out. You know, maybe we'll do a check-in to see how it all goes. Gina says, crock pot meals are great. You're absolutely right. Meal plans to make sure that you don't have to worry about what you're feeding. Oh, the air fryer. We all know how I feel about my air fry. I love my air fryer. But all of these, you know, we love being home with our kiddos. And so I appreciate your thoughts on how to manage this summer successfully, because it is a busy, busy travel season for all of us. So thanks for being here, you guys.
Thanks
For having me.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, ladies.
See you soon. All right, you guys, thanks for joining us today. I hope you had some fun. It was great to hear from Zach and Stacy and Amy and Keisha. And we're going to thank our sponsors, especially Apple Leisure Group, for being our overwhelming sponsor. It's funny, I don't have anyone at home currently. All my kids are gone, and one's in Florida on a boat. The other one's working at camp in the mountains. So my house is a little too quiet these days. Now, that doesn't mean an invite to send your children here. Don't do that. Keisha, Stacy, Amy, nope, they're not coming. But I do miss them. It's very different place to be in. So, all right, you guys, next week, Globus is with us, and we're going to start off our summer series, Be a Social Butterfly. So we're going to talk to a wonderful agent next week about how she is putting herself out there to become a little bit more social to gain business. So we'll see you next week. You guys have a good one.